welcome back to my channel. Today I think I have a project you're gonna like. It involves wine, and nothing is better than wine. So I have made some wine gift bags. I've got several different variations. I've got some with handles and that have a little bit of puffiness around them. I've got one that you can just carry like this into the party. And I even made one for the big bottle. And this one actually has handles too. So you can just carry it along. And it just makes a beautiful way to display a bottle of wine when you want to give it as a gift. So let's get started. And I'll show you how to make these. Okay, this project is so easy, it's ridiculous. You're going to love it. And it turns out so darn pretty. I have the directions here for the large wine bottle bag, and then here for the small wine bag. And the only real difference is cording is a couple of inches longer on the large bag, and it's going to be 17 inches long and 14 inches wide, your main pieces of fabric. Let me lift those directions up there and you can get a good look. And then what we are going to focus on is the small bag, which, let me get there we go. All right, the directions for this are going to be an inner and outer piece of fabric that are 13 inches long by 11 inches wide. This is going to be the outer fabric. This is going to be our inner fabric. We're going to need 2 pieces of ribbon that are 5 inches long. And for this bag, I decided to use paracord because it seemed to match pretty good. Looks pretty nice. And that's pretty much it. The way we're going to start is we're going to set our inner fabric to the side, and we're going to work with the outer fabric. We're going to fold it in half, and we're going to put our ribbon on. And the reason for this ribbon is this is what's going to give us our cinch for our handles. And what I'm going to have you do is measure down about 1.5 inches from the top and center your ribbon. And we want to pin it, but we don't want to pin through both sides. And you know, it looks as if these could be a little bit long. I'm going to trim a little tiny bit off just because we definitely don't want to sew over the ends of our ribbon, otherwise we won't be able to cinch those together. You can judge this as you go. We're going to have a 1/4 inch seam on here, so you just want to make sure that it's going to end up real close to that 1/4 inch seam. So right there we're about our 1.5 inches, and we're going to put a pin right in the center of that pretty ribbon, just like so. And that didn't work out too good. There we go. Let's make sure we're still about 1.5 inches. See, I'm a little crooked. There we go. Okay. Now, let's go to the other side, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to measure 1.5 inches down. And we're going to pin on our second piece of ribbon. Maybe I'll pull them apart this time so that we are sure that we're not getting the second layer. Okay. Straighten this up. Now, you want these to be even, so we'll open this back up and you can see they look pretty decent. This is going to be cinched, so you really won't worry too much about the perfection in, you know, you want them to be pretty even, but they're going to look good. I'm going to use white thread, and I'm just going to sew along. You do not want to sew this edge here. You just want to go ahead and sew very close to this edge and very close to this bottom edge on each of these. We're going to do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, we've sewn these on, easy enough. Now the next step, it's just about as easy. All we're going to do is fold this over. We're going to go over to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew the bottom and this side. We're going to leave the top open, and we also are going to take our lining. We're going to fold that in half as well, and we are going to sew the bottom, and we're going to go about halfway up the side. We're going to stop. We can back stitch and strengthen it a little. I'd say skip about 2.5 inches, then start again, back stitch, and go the rest of the way up to the top, leaving the top open. Also, just as a note, when I sewed this ribbon on here, I haven't cut any of the threads yet. This ribbon tends to not fray very bad, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. And also, I back stitched on the end of everywhere that I stopped, because we do want to make sure that those stay on there, because if we're carrying those wine bottles by those handles, we really wouldn't want that ribbon to come off. So I'm going to go sew these with the right sides in, leaving an opening here, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we've come back and we have sewn these two sides shut, leaving an opening. And what we are going to do now is lay one on top of the other and get them nice and even. All right, we're going to take a ruler. Let me grab a little ruler, and we're going to mark 1 inch on the corner. I want to make sure you can see this okay. I think my camera may be falling down a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to just take and mark 1 inch here, and we're going to mark 1 inch here. And then we're going to cut these out. This may seem a little strange if you've never done this before, but this is how we box the corners of the bag to make it set nice. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the sewing machine. I'm going to take each one of these, and we're going to open this up the opposite way. And we are going to sew those shut, all 4 of them, on the inside and the outside. And I would make sure to back stitch on the ends on all 4 of those. And I will be right back. Okay, you can see I've just made these little boxed bottoms on here, easy as could be. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the outside, right side out, reach in there and straighten those bottoms out. And then what we're going to do is the cardinal rule to when you are putting things together like this is when you put that one inside the other, you want the right sides together. So you're going to leave the inside of the bag wrong side out. So we'll put our hand in here. We're just going to tuck this up. And we're going to kind of make sure they fit together nice. And we'll pull this up. And we're going to line our sewn edges together here. Get everything nice and straight. They should fit together really nicely. We're going to line that up, and we're going to go back to the sewing machine, and we're going to do 1/4 of an inch all the way around and sew that shut, just as it is. That our edge is sewn all the way around. Now we're going to go to our little spot here where we didn't sew it, and we're just going to pull the outside right out of there. This thing is just the quickest, easiest project. I like to give it a little shake, and then we're going to tuck that down in there. We'll get our bottoms lined back up real nice. Now is a time you might want to go along and snip a few of these little strays that I never bothered to do before. I normally keep up with that pretty good, but sometimes it gets away from me. Now, the next thing you want to do is go over to your iron and give this a nice press. Just kind of squeeze them between your fingers and get these all lined up nice. And press them so that they stay in place. It's very important that they aren't all wonky. Let's do that real quick. Okay, now that we've got these nice and even, we're going to go back over to the sewing machine one more time. I usually like to start right where my side seam is, and I'm going to sew right along the top edge all the way around this, and this is going to hold this bag together. Okay. We are just about there. The only part now that we have left to do is to add our cord. I took 2 safety pins. You can just have one if you only have one, you know, do one at a time. But I went ahead and added these in here, and I got them nice and snug on the ends. And what we're going to do is take one end and run it through. It's kind of neat how this all works out. Going to run it through sometime today anyway. Okay, there we go. There's the other side. And then we're going to run it through the other side of ribbon that we did. Okay, there's one. Now we want to take this other piece of paracord and we want to start from this side. I'm sorry, we want to start from this side. Sometimes I just have moments. Today I'm having many moments, so. Okay. Opposite sides. You want to start from opposite sides and run these through. And I just love this shiny ribbon that I used. I think it does the fabric a lot of justice. You can let me know in the comments below if you like it or hate it. Okay, I've got that in there. Now we can take our safety pins out. And I don't know why, but I can measure these things perfectly even. And they're sometimes not quite right. Now I got them pretty close right there. So what you gonna want to do now is just tie these in a little knot at the end. Sometimes it's easier to start up a little higher, and you can bring that knot, you can push it down as you tighten. And then pull it nice and snug. There we go. Let's do the same thing over here. Only thing you want to be sure of when you do this is that you get these pretty even. Otherwise your handles are going to carry kind of crooked, and you really don't want that. All right, I think we're pretty good. What I will do now is just take and snip these off kind of at an angle. And I think they'll naturally fray pretty good. And we have ourselves a wine bag. Let's steal one of these bottles of wine. and see how she looks. Well, this is actually a bottle of grape juice, but that's okay. All right. Looks pretty darn nice to me. Just on a side note, I did forget to mention during the video, I was going to tell you how to make the bag without the handle. It's even more simple than the one with the handle. All you're going to do, let me take this out of here and I'll give you a good look at it, is instead of cutting your ribbon in half and putting 2 pieces of ribbon on, you're just going to go ahead and take the measurements I gave you for ribbon and put 1 piece of ribbon the whole way across your outer fabric, and then run whatever kind of ribbon you want through and tie it just like so. Easy as pie. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you liked it, please feel free to come back and watch many more that I make. Have a great day.